Hi guys, my name is Zin and this is maybe Bonsai. Today is the weekend. It's nice outside. There's lots of sun and the temperature is above freezing. So my trees have been breaking out dormancy in the garage and that's continuing to go, but it's slowing down because the temperature has been lower at night, which is good. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to repot a lot of my trees because I usually wouldn't do this at this time of the year because it's still usually it's cooler than right now, but because of the warm spell that we had, and I think this is a good time to do it, I'm still going to keep the trees after the repot in the garage, so they're protected, so they're not going to get exposed to the cold night temperatures, and that'll be okay. So I think, even though it's a bit early, I think it's safe to do so. So it's a bit of a mess here. I'm just preparing some of the pots. This is the red maple that I have, or sugar maple. And I think I'm going to put it into a small pot like this big. You know, if you look at it, it kind of fits, but it is a bit small, I think. But I'm going to try it because I'm going to try to reduce the leaves on this tree, because the leaves are, as you probably saw before, are massive. So by putting it in a small pot like that, I hope over time it's going to reduce the size, but we'll find out. This tree is quite vigorous, so I'm not afraid that it's gonna die or something. It's, you know, the buds are healthy. So I'm gonna do that. And then I got a couple more pots here. I'm hoping to get some of the Japanese maple seedlings in one of these. Just, you know, start a rough forest basically. And I have some smaller pots here, like these two, which I'm going to put those jade back here in them. And the jade does really reduce the leaf size if you put them in a small pot, because Nigel has them and they're just like tiny leaves for the regular jades. So that's my plan. And also, oh right, one of these pots is going to fit the lavender. I know I pruned it, and I'm going to. It's in the garage, and it's doing well. So I'm going to repot it. I think it's safe. I don't think there's any danger of it dying back. So you know, like I said, it's protected. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm in the garage, and these are the maples, obviously. I'm going to try to separate some of these, or if not all of them, probably all of them, hopefully. And I know that they have been leafed out, and it's not the best time to repot when it's starting to leaf, but the temperature is so low that the growth is like super slow. So I don't think it's a problem at this time, and at least some of these, that's actually a leaf from last year, but some of these haven't leafed out, so I'll try my best, but I don't think it's a problem. I have done this kind of thing before, and I never had a problem with it. I do also want to kind of repot these two Korean maples. One of them turns red and one of them turns yellow in the fall, so I wanted to put them both together, as in two trees. And I know two is not a good number for bonsai. Usually it's an odd number, but I think it can work, you know, half red and half orange, or half yellow. And you know, I don't know, we'll see. But that's what I'm planning. So that's the lavender. I'm going to repot. And as you can see, the rest of the stuff, this is the royal oak that Nigel gave me. I repotted into this pot here because the original pot was one of those root makers, and they really don't stand up that properly. It's so easy that they tip over, and then the soil can kind of spill out. So I repotted that because it was getting to be a problem. This is the Kingsville boxwood. I can tell that the color has already brightened up. This was you know, like in the winter the color kind of dims down, but now it's starting to bright up. So I think it's actually actively growing. And you can see there's lots of roots under here. I'm going to cover that up. I think this is just the winter exposing the, you know, when I water, everything just kind of gets washed. So I think I might actually, you know what? I think I might put this, maybe I should repot this today and put this into that little pot that I was going to put the maple in. And then I could put the maple in a different one of these plastic pots. So that might be a good idea. Because there's a lot of trees that I need to repot, I'm not going to film all of them maybe not even one of them, but I will show the result of the repot. So I'm gonna get started with that, and I'll see you when I finish. I've got my 2 J's here that I raked out the roots, and I did prune the roots a bit because it was kind of larger than I thought in a way. And I did kind of carve the bottom so it's flatter. Right now, these J's are way too top heavy, so I'm going to prune the top of both, probably by a lot, and it'll be more stable in the pot. So just thought I'd show you that before I do the actual repotting. I've just got the maple out of the pot, and you can see there are tons of roots. It's like, I don't know if you call it root bound, but there certainly are a lot of roots everywhere. It's basically all around and on top. I initially thought these were like the roots for the moss, or some kind of attachment from the moss, but I was trying to kind of rake them out, but they were quite matted, so I wasn't able to do it. So I think these are actually just the maple roots. This is just like, this tree has been here for maybe like 2 years, a year and a half. I think it's 2 years. And I guess it's very vigorous. I mean, look at all the roots. This soil is the soil that supposedly that can get reused. So when I rake this out, I'm going to leave the soil in here and dry it out. I don't know, probably just in the room. I think it'll dry pretty fast. My house is quite dry. And then I can sift it out a bit to get rid of all these little roots and dirt, and they should be able to be reused. I'm actually quite happy with this soil. This is the one with granite, zeolite, and pine bark, and some pumice. So yeah, I really like this soil. It worked really well. It also drains really fast. So anyway, I'm gonna rake this out, and then I'm gonna put it into this pot. It's a plastic pot, but I think for the size, it actually fits quite well. Anyway, I'm gonna get going on this. Okay, so after about half an hour, I dug out the roots. This is about maybe half of the root mass. The rest is in the garbage can there. It was just too much. It took a little while to rake out. And I finally found the base of the tree, which is great. It's got, like 3 or 4 of these big roots coming out. And I don't mind that because it gives the root a bit of feature, and it kind of flares out. But the problem I see is this one here. It comes over and then it goes up, kind of curves up. I guess when the tree was planted before, it was like on this kind of angle, so that it kind of grew up. The rest looks fine. There's some roots that are kind of curling up, which I will remove. But I think this big one here, I think I'll have to reduce it. Now that's going to reduce basically this entire half of the root ball, which I think it'll be okay. I mean, it's a maple, it's very vigorous. So it's a bit of a dangerous operation, but maybe I'll reduce to like here. But yeah, this is something I want to fix because I don't, I want the tree to eventually kind of maybe on a different angle. I guess this angle is okay, but maybe, a different. Something like towards this side. Yeah, anyway, I'll have to cut this, but I'll try to leave a bit more on so that it doesn't affect the tree too much. But there are more than enough roots on here, that's for sure. You can see the divide on these big roots here. Yeah, it's interesting. It's not, but I mean, all the roots after those big ones are all just fine fibrous roots everywhere. So the bonsai soil really works for that. I mean, it's amazing. Anyway, I'm going to reduce the roots, and hopefully it'll be okay. So here's the result of the root reduction. So yeah, I took off a lot, but again, this is the maple, and I think it'll be fine. It's going to fit in the pot. I try to crack as many roots as I can, and this is what I'm left with. I also kind of chewed the bottom a bit because it wasn't too flat. I wanted to kind of raise it a bit or reduce the bottom a bit, and It's looking okay. We'll see how it goes, but I think, yeah, it's gonna fit in here and I think it'll be fine. Well, guys, after much struggle, I was able to rake the tray out. As you can see, the root base is quite nice, except for this thing, but I can't take that off. I think this just has a vein and it probably will kill something if I take that off. So I'm hoping this will just grow and eventually this root and the base will kind of fuse because it will just get thicker and thicker. But other than that, it's, you know, there are lots of roots. They're quite radial, I would say. This started because, you know, it's kind of like on a kind of an angle, I guess. But that's because this had a huge and very thick taproot. It was about the size of the trunk and it got thinner as it go down. And when I first dug this out, I cut that whole thing off. And this thing was left with barely any roots, you know, it just had like a couple of these long ones and that was it. There's no fibrous roots. But it did survive, obviously. So it's quite resilient. So now it's got all kinds of fibrous roots, so I'm pretty happy about that. I will, obviously, I'll have to do some trimming of the roots because it's too long right now. So yeah, I just wanted to show you the amount of roots before I started doing that. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. The first thing I gotta say is that this tree has literally no weight. It feels like I'm holding a piece of cardboard. Like there's no solid wood in here at all. It's just like, there's no weight at all. Yeah, anyways, I'm gonna trim the roots and keep going with what I have to do. So I was trying to trim the bottom a bit because this here was the original taproot. It went down a lot. And then I cut the thing off. So now I actually cut more off. And it looks like this is the vein that goes to here. And this is trimmed off, obviously. So I think eventually this whole thing will just die off, or it's already dead, but it's gonna like, I could rot out or whatever. And then it'll create this huge hollow, probably reverse taper and I don't know what else. But I'm not gonna do anything right now. I'm just gonna leave it on there. This is like super soft wood. It's like, you know, it's like firewood, kindling, that's what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I mean, when this goes, it's gonna look really strange, but what can you do? Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to show this because that's what this is. It's all going. But anyway, I reduced it so now it's actually flatter, can sit better, so. All right, guys, so I'm in the middle of separating the maples. This is definitely by far the hardest task. I don't have that much room and it's quite a mess. I actually already potted up a group in a pot, and there's another group here, and there's still a whole bunch left. I'm not sure if I have enough pots for these, but I'm gonna try my best to get them into either individual pots or group plantings. Well, guys, it's nighttime and I'm finally finished. This took a lot longer than I thought. I think it totaled like 5-6 hours. So let me show you what I did with the jade, and then I'll take you to the garage, and hopefully the lighting is okay. This pile is what's left of the Japanese maples. I took them all apart. I only threw away a couple because the roots was like with just like a really weird trunk line. Nothing I could work with, so I just tossed those. The little jade, one of them is here. I put on the top, the size, so they fit and it's not gonna wobble. Another one I put on the windowsill here. That's this jade here. So I'm hoping in these little pots they're gonna start reducing the size of the leaves. I think the one that Nigel had was even smaller than this, the pot. But anyway, we'll see. So that's all I have on the inside. So let me take you to the garage and I'll show you the Japanese maples. Okay, I think the lighting is okay. So here's a whole bunch of them. These are just in, I don't even call them a forest. They're just planted there because I don't have any more pots and I'm just using whatever that can fit soil. This is actually a shell of a ceiling light. You know, it's like the shell on top of on the bottom of the light. So that works. And these are all like kind of the last ones, the later ones that I did. I did root prune all of them. Every single one I root pruned. and some of them are just like left with tiny bit of roots. So I hope that they can make it, but if they don't, I'm not going to be too upset because there's so many of them. But I'm sure, you know, some of them or most of them should make it. And then I have a whole bunch here. These are the more, I guess you can call it the more healthy ones. I put them in small pots. I'm sorry if the light is not good in here, but this is the best I can do for now. That's 3 of them in there, those ones. And then I have 3 in here. That's lavender in this pot. I think it's a little bit big right now, but I think it's okay. The boxwood, I did not have time to repot this. I'm too tired to be honest. And this is already kind of green, so it may be too late. So I can always do that next year. There's one in here by itself, and then there's another. This is the actual forest planting. I put the healthiest ones in here, I would say. Because this one, you know, it's really long, right? So there's that, and then there's one back here. There's like 6 or 7 of them in there. So that is all the ones that I had. And yeah, it was tiring. It was a lot of work. I didn't expect it to take that long. I would say that definitely repotting is the hardest thing to do because it takes forever. So yeah, I think that's it. I think this year I have more seedlings on the way, but I think this time I put them in these trays, so I wouldn't have to go through all this in a hurry because all of them were in one container. And but I think I do have one of those outside. That's for the some of the Japanese maples. But these are some other seedlings that I haven't taken out yet. But I'm going to take these out soon, so they can just start growing outside. I'm afraid to take this outside now because I don't want, you know, little critters and whatever to, like squirrels, to start digging up the seeds. That would be no good. So anyway, there's my heat mat that I used for the cutting that I did. So yeah, that's it for this week, guys. It was very tiring, more tiring than I thought, but it gave me just a feel of spring because I have like dust covering my arms and stuff. So I got a whole bunch of stuff that I like pinned up upstairs. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.